Hello, everybody. Why Invest Wednesday is back. You thought you forgot about me? We'll allow some people to hop on here. Instagram, Facebook. Lots happened over the last 3 weeks when I've been out, and just wanted to kind of reach out and get reconnected to y'all. Y'all, I guess I've been hanging out in the South. Don't tell anyone. I did go on vacation. And things were okay. I'm healthy. We're good. We're back here. Good to go. So, to the real estate stuff here quickly. Lots going on. Lots changed, obviously, since we last did this. First and foremost, last week was the highest amount of showings in the out of showing time, which is the metro area, and really most of the northern metro area's showing service. There was almost 30,000 showings in a 7-day period. They measure that from Wednesday to Tuesday. So that's a huge number, the most that we've seen in 2020. So that to me tells me that buyers are out there. We are pushing through this pandemic. People are getting out and taking advantage of everything, really. The low interest rates, wanting to get out of our small apartments, rentals, things like that. And just really great for the market to see that many showings. Now, I will tell you that inventory is still limited, and that is causing kind of a log jam, but that's all right. We will continue to push towards those listings as people get more and more comfortable with people going through their homes and things like that. I think that will come back. I don't think we'll for sure see a huge increase in inventory, but we kind of take what we can get. That kind of pushes us into the interest rates are lower. They're crazy low. I saw an average last Friday. Conventional FHA, everything's in the high twos, below 3. Depending on your credit and things like that. That's a perfect credit scenario. But holy cow, we're talking interest rates in the 2s when some of our parents and grandparents, paid 12 to 15 to 20% interest when they purchased the house, and we're talking, 2 to 3%, and 4% in bad times, bad credit situations, or down payment assistance, or things like that. So that's a huge number. Obviously, those change by the minute, so don't quote me on those rates, but that's definitely something that is pushing people into the market. I know I talked to one of my older family members, and they were going to buy a house with cash. They're like, well, if I get a 2.7 interest rate, I'm going to use somebody else's money and leverage that. So that's all great news for the market. Obviously, this will not last forever. We talked about that last time with the Fed, kind of wanting to keep the interest rates low as we kind of see a recovery into 2021, and things really start to recover once we have a vaccine and things like that. Interest rates are bound to go up, partially because they can't go down any further. So just know that's coming for sure. But, for now, everyone that I've talked to, the lenders that I talk to and trust, predict the interest rates to stay pretty low, at least through the end of this year. As you know, we got, new quote unquote spikes or more testing or whatever it is. As we continue to work through that, now all of a sudden we're talking about kids going back to school, and that's kind of a hot button topic. So all of this will play into obviously our economy and things moving forward. But as for the real estate market, things are great. As if you're a buyer, now's the time. You get that lower interest rate, you all of a sudden have a lot more purchase power. You can look at a home that's $50,000, $60,000 more than you would have qualified for, 5-6 months ago. So understand that is a huge opportunity. Understand that refinancing and things like that are sometimes an option, but not always the best option. That's why it's very important that you contact a lender that you trust, or if you don't have one, please don't call the people off the radio and just kind of get sucked into something. Call somebody who's going to look at your scenario and make sure that you are making the best choice. As everybody can offer those lower interest rates, but it's definitely important that you make sure you're making that right decision and refinance and taking the whole picture into play. Sometimes it doesn't make sense just to do it just to get, a quarter interest or a half interest point lower. So definitely reach out if you have questions about that piece. If you're, thinking about buying, you never thought you could qualify for much, we should have a conversation and see, because now is the best time to qualify for the most amount and spend the littlest on your mortgage. So that's something to think about. Next, kind of moving to a little bit more negative light. If you have heard, there was a report, I don't know if you understand who put it out, but CoreLogic, they look at pricing and inventory and all kinds of things. They put a report out last week, I believe, that's been getting some publicity. Part of that report I have down in the comments below, so check that out. Talking about delinquencies. Now, they don't really mention that forbearance is technically a delinquency on here, and a lot of people who I talk to every day don't realize, hey, I took a forbearance, I'm just not paying my mortgage, but that is considered a delinquency to some extent and on this report. So what that said was our delinquencies were at an all-time low. Keep in mind this report is from going back to April, as we're a little bit behind on statistics naturally due to the science behind statistics. But they did say delinquencies were up to 6.1 from a all-time low in March in the 3s. So almost doubled, if not doubled, the delinquency. And a delinquency is being late on your mortgage, 30 or more days. There's different levels of delinquency, but in general, delinquencies went up or doubled to 6.1%. Now, immediately, the phone starts blowing up. We're going to have foreclosures, give me foreclosures. I want to do fix and flips. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I would caution you to kind of hold on to that for a second, because a lot of these delinquencies are forbearance people who will eventually get a deferment and, make a payment plan and get caught back up on their mortgage or put it towards the end of their mortgage. Whatever the government and your, loan type allow, that'll definitely happen. I don't see a lot of these going into foreclosure unless you just end up with a very bad deferment plan, or and that's where the foreclosures could happen. But for the next 12 months, those delinquencies are technically safe from foreclosure for the most part. Obviously, every situation is different, so check with your lender. But let's not sound the alarm here. There are people that, we've been talking about forbearance for months now. A lot of people have taken it. The statistics that this doesn't talk about is that 10% of people came out of forbearance and went into the deferment part of their plan last month. And for the last 4 months, forbearance has been going down. So, 4 weeks. So that's something that we should all know and understand, that even if you read the report that I have in the link, it doesn't talk about that. 6% delinquencies, double, sound the alarm. We're going to have foreclosures. Not quite yet. And then there was another statistic that's floating around there that 32% of renters or mortgage holders are delinquent. This is definitely an alarming statistic, but one word that I mentioned in there is renters. This will lead to more evictions for sure as we start to get out of the phase that's protecting from evictions and things like that. But for the time being, we are seeing a pretty good ratio of that being towards the renting side. So, be careful there. You're probably not going to be as protected in those private situations. If you're a renter and that's something that you should be really careful about, definitely start trying to pay your rent when you are able. If you are a, mortgage holder in forbearance, understand there will be some effects of that, whether that's, whatever. You will show delinquencies, and as that number improves and as you move to the deferment and as we get out of even the deferment, then those numbers will obviously go down. So, and also in that CoreLogic report, the last thing I'm going to talk about is it said that homes were going to depreciate for the first time in 9 years, 6.1%. Now, this is a nationwide number, as are all the other numbers I've talked about. And when you get into nationwide numbers, there's all kinds of, things to consider, especially during a pandemic. Now more than ever, real estate is hyper local. Obviously, in New York, where they aren't allowed to go outside, or haven't been for several months now, they're not selling as many homes. So when you take that into account, no homes being sold, the prices are going to start to go down a little bit. Even 6%. I mean, we've had years and years of, 4 to even 12% gains in Denver, especially. So that's something to take into account. Just for your reference, in the metro area, in the MLS that's for the metro area, the average median home price for 2019 in the whole MLS was $400,000. Currently, in the whole MLS, the average median home price is $420,000. So that's a 20,000% increase year over year already. In the Denver area, it was $422,000, and now it's up to $445,000. So overall, we're not going to see a decrease in the metro area. There will definitely be spots of decrease nationally, as obviously every state is different, as we have learned through this COVID pandemic, that every state's different. Some states are doing some things, other things, the governors are kind of running the show. And so real estate in general is going to be, brought down by the ones that are kind of restricted and things like that. So take those numbers for what they are. Understand that the national averages are not going to affect at least the Colorado market and not a lot of other markets. If you want a link to the CoreLogic statistics and that report on delinquencies, it's in the comments below. If you want to see more, click around on that CoreLogic site. There's a ton of statistics. You can totally geek out on those statistics there, but just know that we are pretty stable and seeing quite the increase in the real estate market as we move forward. So hope you have a good rest of your week. Love somebody, take care of yourselves, and let's get through this together step by step, right? We'll talk soon, and I will promise you I will be back next week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.